baby. Welcome in. All-American Cup Series Thursday. Technical difficulties off the start. iOverlay has crashed, and I couldn't be more excited to be back with you for Race 9 of Season 11 All-American Cup Series from Dover, the Delaware 200. A nice field of race cars. 200 laps around the concrete Monster Mile. It's your pal Rowdy up in the booth and on the pole, collecting another top qualifying award, the 06 of Chris Worrell. Let's talk to him. Chris Worrell, Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey there. How you doing, Noah?
All righty, we put her on pole. 200 laps around a concrete coliseum. Not the one over in Tennessee, but this one very different. Lack of rubber, lack of grip, just a little bit bigger. What's the expectation for this race, Chris?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm just hoping the internet keeps me in it this time. I mean, I'm just going to try to take it easy and just hope the tires last as long as possible. I don't know how, I never did a fuel count. Looks like we can go like 55 laps, it says. So I just run as much of the tires I can out of the car before I pit. I guess that's the only strategy, really. Just try to keep it on all four wheel.
Have some fun, Chris. I'm going to send you back down.
Thanks, dude.
We're going to send Chris Worrell down into his call. Ladies and gentlemen, next time by, we will see the green flag. 31 cars will make the show here tonight. We got a 90-degree track temp. Chris Worrell just let us know. Right around 53 to 55 laps of fuel in the tank. Which means we will expect to hit 3 pit stops tonight. Here's your top 10. Chris Worrell, Curtis White, Lilith Peters, Jared Ray Hutton, Christopher Murphy, Chris Heller, Andrew Skelnick, Kyle Ethier, Dayton Taylor, Connor LaFrance. Just outside the top 10, Walker McNulty, Nathan Jurgensen, Lucas Strayer, Justin Ray, Thomas Stokes. Rounding out your top 20. Last week's winner, Casey Carrington, Jacob Alisi, Elijah Cole, Josh Dillon, Zach Mertez. Ladies and gentlemen, the green flag is up. The green flag is out. 200 laps around the Monster Mile. Chris Worrell leads them. We are racing here at Dover. Chris Worrell, he will lose that lead to Curtis White. Curtis White has won 3 races here, finished second the other time. I was given a warning that he may be the one to just dominate this race. Jared Ray Hutton moves into the 3rd position, 4th right now. Lilith Peters, 5th, Chris Heller. Excuse me, Chris Heller, not Curtis White, the driver on the massive winning streak. My bad. Dayton Taylor, 6th. Christopher Murphy, 7th. Andrew Skelnick, 8th. Connor LaFrance, 9th. Nathan Jurgensen rounds out your top 10. Kyle Ethier, and 11th. You can see them work their way through turns 3 and 4. Giving some heads up by some drivers. This race is going to be all about saving that right front tire. And you're not going to see a lot of wrecks because of drivers losing the rear end. It's actually going to come from lack of grip pushing up into the wall. You'll see guys potentially clobber the wall exiting turn 2. Getting a little hairy, exit of turn 4. Right now, Curtis White, look at this. 1 second lead already over Jared Ray Hutton, who got around Chris Worrell. Will Peters 4th. Closest battle on track right now. Andrew Skelnick, Connor LaFrance going back and forth. Nathan Jurgensen, he's looking for an opening. On board with Jurgensen. Two top rookies battling right now side by side. Jurgensen will take the spot away from Andrew Skelnick. Arnold LaFrance trying to run down Christopher Murphy. Strayer moved into 11th. Kyle Ethier going backwards. He sits 12th right now. Behind him, Thomas Stokes and Jacob Alicia. Alicia trying to clear Justin Ray in the 38. On board, Jacob Alicia. Curtis White has already found lap traffic. That's Zach Mertez off the pace. We didn't get an incident report, so we don't know what happened to him. But he's the 30th place car right now, threat of being lapped. Jared Ray Hutton has closed the gap by about 0.3. He's just about half a second off. And everybody just about single file around Dover. Daniel Giroux, he was side by side with Ethan again, the 97 and again, looking back underneath Giroux. As they head down the back straightaway. Curtis White still behind Zach Mertez. Year to year isn't really affecting him all that much. Jared Ray still 0.8 of a second off the 63. Now back to 0.9 as he goes into turn 1. Chris Worrell, pole sitter, now back in third. Lil Peters' teammate. And fourth, Chris Heller, favorite to win this race. That's the highest win percentage here with the record. He's at 5th. Dayton Taylor needs a comeback race after some mistakes that were made last week. He's at 6th. Connor LaFrance, 7th. Closest battle on track right now. We have a 10th gap in between Elijah Cole and Jacob Alicia. Oh, into the wall, Elijah Cole. Even looked like Alicia was a little squirrely off of 4 there, but Elijah Cole in the 64. Big move, big save. And Justin Ray will try to capitalize as he heads down the back straightaway. Lil Peters now all over the rear bumper of Chris Worrell. And Chris Heller right back there, Concrete Chris. The number 16, making this about a 3-car battle. Dayton Taylor in the mix as well. So 4 cars underneath the blanket waiting to get into the top 3. Watch it from the onboard of Dayton Taylor here. He'll look to the inside of Chris Heller to make the move. Glides across the nose. He'll clear. Will Peters was all over Chris Worrell. She'll fall back just a little bit. Jared Ray Hutton moving in right now on the hunt for Curtis White. Zach Mertez maybe is slowing down Curtis a little bit too much. This is Zach Mertez here, running the same exact line as your leader and blinking out. And that poses another threat to Curtis White if he wants to try to make this pass. That gap, 0.3 of a second. Still, Mirtez blinks out. You can see Curtis White is moving up off that bottom. He's getting down there, but he's not keeping it low. Jared Ray Hutton's wrapping it just a little bit better. And Jared will push up again. Maybe that's a little bit of the line here. Drive back off the right rear. Oh, intricate way to keep tire wear pretty even all the way around the car, so just burning the right front. You can see he does it there again. I still think he's getting it better than Curtis White, though. Curtis White isn't actually making it to the bottom of the racetrack at that moment. And now Jared Ray Hutton has closed in, so this is going to be a battle for the lead on lap 20. Curtis White zipped on away. Did he burn off those tires? Whereas the majority of the field spent the first handful of laps saving. Here comes Jared Ray Hutton working on the 63. Battle for the lead is on. Jared Ray Hutton now to the inside. Has to get back in line down the back straightaway. He'll look for it again in turn 3. He's a lot better in this corner. Draws the distance. Out of turn 4, staying in line at the flag stand. They begin lap 22. Wasn't able to do anything with the run on that previous lap. He's going to have to spend a lap or two rebuilding a run and looking for another move. Meanwhile, here comes Chris Worrell with Dayton Taylor, who got around Lilith Peters. They're going to enter this battle. Couple of guys making contact with the wall off of turn 4. About 3 or 4 drivers in the top 10 were making such a mistake. Connor LaFrance having a battle with Chris Heller right now. Connor LaFrance on the inside. Can he clear off at turn 4? Woo, Heller gets it sideways, but gets the car back at front. Nathan Jurgensen, meanwhile, has finally gotten around Andrew Skelnick. He's been working on him for a while. Look back towards the front. Curtis White's gotten a gap back to Jared Ray Hutton, but Dayton Taylor is trying to close in as he rides behind Chris Worrell. Worrell really loose right now with your pole sitter, trying to regain ground on your 2 leaders and get back up to a position. You can see everybody's kind of moving up in the center. Seems to be the preferred line. I just saw Jared Ray Hutton brush the wall there on the straightaway. Didn't really lose any time. Meanwhile, Connor LaFrance, Chris Heller have still been battling it out. LaFrance on the bottom, Heller up top. LaFrance trying to drive it off the top, but the car plows. He couldn't get the rotation. I saw it. I saw right when he was about to throttle up, expecting the car to turn, but it didn't. So maybe we're already seeing some handling issues and maybe a top line that isn't ready for racing. Right now, we're racing for P2. Chris Worrell gets around Jared Ray Hutton, who once again was making a mistake on the straightaway and getting too swirly, puts the right rear in the wall. Chris Worrell will run away with second now. Jared Ray Hutton staying with him. He wants to go back for it. Dayton Taylor was not close enough to capitalize on the pass for position, so he stays 4th. Lilith Peters 7/10 behind in 5th. And you can hear it, a lot of patience with the throttle right now. Ray Hutton looks to the inside of Chris Worrell. Trying to get second back. Obviously a big mistake was The reason why he lost the position, he has enough speed to try to go back and get him. And now Dayton Taylor says, it's my turn to battle. I want the top 3. Gets back in line. Chris Worrell has officially moved up a lane. Jared Ray Hunt is still staying on the bottom, able to move. Dayton Taylor, B4. That dirty air coming to effect. Dayton Taylor was ready to throttle up because the dirty air from Jared Ray Hutton, the nose wasn't getting the proper pressure, so he couldn't get the turn back of the car and drive through the center. He had to wait a little bit longer, and that's why Jared Ray Hutton is beating him there, which makes you wonder how a lot of these guys feel when they're running the exact same line as the car in front. You don't want to bury your tire because you see how these guys are all flying off of corner exit, the rear end sticking out, brushing the wall. That's happening because they have the wheel buried so deep in the corner that when they come off, it's going to be really free. And they're just not hitting their transition point correctly with the wheel. Normally you see that in Gen 7 racing, but again, everybody kind of running the same line. Even in the Gen 4 cars, this track, it's a lot more pushy than it is losing the right rear. We're going to have that same effect right now. Chris Worrell still under threat by Jared Ray Hutton. Right? Jared Ray Hutton is strung in. Here comes Lilith Peters. She's in the 5th spot. She's running down this group. Really good at saving tire in these situations. We'll see what she has for these boys as she closes in. Right now, Dayton Taylor making a move on Jared Ray Hutton. Best looking so far. They'll bring it to the bottom in 3 and 4. He should be able to clear here on exit. Yes, he will. Put Dayton Taylor up in the 3rd spot. Welcome to the top 3. And here comes Lilith Peters. And by the way, this entire run, Curtis White has had to run right behind Zach Mertez. So the same effect all these others drive, feel and dirty air are what he's feeling. He has a lap down car who still is fast. We don't know what happened with Zach Mertez. He's not a back marker by any means. But that dirty air on the nose of Curtis White is the reason why he's not being able to pull away. And here comes Chris Worrell. Chris Worrell, a lot of patience. He's getting fresh air to the nose, but he has to wait when to throttle up, and now he looks to the inside. Drag race down the front straightaway. Into turn 1, Chris Worrell trying to keep it planted. Curtis White on the outside. Cole Sitter trying to get the lead back. Couldn't do it in 1 and 2. Worrell now, trying that line again. Late apex, can't get there, and he'll brush the wall. Curtis White will get some ground gained over Chris Worrell. We're about 14, 15 laps away from pit stops. Get to the end of that fuel tank. Looks like we'll have it under green. The entire field doing a really good job and navigating around each other. As more lap traffic appears in the windshield of your leaders. Zach Mertez, faster lap car, getting around the guys in the back. First driver will be the rookie of Nicky Richerio. And then Jeremy Flanagan in the 72. Zach Mertez is working on. Here comes Curtis White. Chris Worrell in tow. Jeremy Flanagan will move to the top line. Give these guys some room. Dayton Taylor, he's trying to capitalize. The leader's hitting lap traffic. He's all over Chris Worrell right now. Alyssa don't really have to wait on that car to rotate. Sorrell really threw it down there on entry. Nathan Taylor's car seems a lot more planted at the moment. Curtis White continues to lead. And Chris Worrell second. Nathan Taylor third. Jared Ray Hutton fourth. Will Peters back here at fifth. Chris Heller sixth. Nathan Jurgensen seventh. Andrew Skelnick eighth. Lucas Strayer ninth. Hunter LaFrance rounding out your top 10. Skelnick and Jurgensen have been at it since the drop of the green flag. And now they've caught Chris Heller. Kind of fighting to be the first car to Heller. Andrew Skelnick qualified behind Jurgensen. I'm sure he wants to get this position back. He's been looking at it all race long. Draws even with Jurgensen. Tries to drive off the corner. Meanwhile, pass right now. Chris Worrell is actually entering pit road. Chris Worrell will be the first driver to hit pit road, and he'll do it from the top 3. This is a pit stop that's coming a handful of laps earlier than we expected. Dayton Taylor now moves into second. Jared Ray Hutton third. Here comes Lilith Peters' teammates with Chris Worrell. So similar strategies, believing that pitting early is the way to go instead of having the tire advantage in this run. Andrew Skelnick still trying to work on Chris Heller. Here comes Chris Worrell back out on track. Comes out right in front of your leader, Curtis White. Worrell 1 lap down, so it is possible to lose almost 2 laps while green flag pit stops are occurring at Dover Motor Speedway. Jacob Alicia hits from right around the 15th spot. Gary Flanagan on pit road as well. Here comes the 16 of Chris Heller. He'll say it's my time. Jared Ray Hutton. 8/10 off of Curtis White. Dayton Taylor third. And Curtis White, he'll hit pit road. So he has to change up for the lead at some point. Jared Ray Hutton went to the lead. Perhaps issues between Curtis White and Dayton Taylor. Dayton Taylor will also come down pit road. That's the 21 of Christopher Murphy. Getting information, Daniel Giroux also on pit road with Mike Husby. And the 22 car of Craig Martin. So Jared Ray Hutton still yet to pit. He'll assume the lead. Andrew Skelnick second, Nathan Jurgensen third, Lucas Strayer fourth, Kyle Ethier fifth. Everybody on your leaderboard on the lead lap has yet to pit. Connor LaFrance will hit pit road. Dominic Russo now not on pit road. So now we just wait for this pit cycle to finish out. We'll have more information on what it looks like, but at the moment, it appears Chris Worrell is your relative leader. Behind him, one lap fresher tires, Lilith Peters' teammate. She's relatively in the second position. Curtis White relatively in the third position. But he has 5 lap fresher tires than Chris Worrell. Dayton Taylor behind him, same strategy. Here comes Jared Ray Hutton into pit road. Andrew Skelnick will stay out. Lucas Strayer and Nathan Jurgensen both pit, so does Walker McNulty. Andrew Skelnick will enter pit road. Kyle Ethier, he'll go out. So now the question is, having tire advantage, is that going to win you this race? Kyle Ether and Ethan again, both still out there on track, yet to pits. If you have a large enough tire advantage, doesn't matter. So Kyle, he'll hit pit road now on lap 58. That's the longest he's going to be able to stretch it. He's got to be on the fumes. Chris Worrell, relatively in the lead. 9 lap older tires. If Kyle Ethier can make up the gap on track, maybe a yellow comes out soon where not everybody hits pit road. He doesn't lose the strategy. He can have the fresher tires. This definitely happened a handful of times in the All-American Cup Series. Guys will pit, have tire advantage, and right when the pit cycle's over, the yellow flag comes out, and they get to have that tire advantage on a restart because nobody else is ready to pit yet. Ethan again, he's down pit road. So Chris Worrell at the flag stand will assume the lead. Right behind him is Lilith Peters battling for the lead. 6 car Mike Husby, 1 lap down. And as we sit a little over a quarter of the way through this race, it appears the guys that pit early are able to keep the track position with as many lap cars on track all the way around Dover. Well, dirty airplane affecting the guys with fresh tires, and will they struggle to get back up to the front? Curtis White, 5 lap fresher tires, and Chris Worrell sits 1.3 seconds back. 1.4-ish. Question is, will he be closing? Curtis White, now officially 1.3. A lot of lap traffic in front of Curtis. But if he's able to navigate them, he has the fresher tire, he has a little bit better pace. He could get there by the end of this run. Dayton Taylor has cycled out in the 4th spot. Chris Heller 5th. Jared Ray Hutton 6th. Jacob Alicia, he pit on lap 50, the first of the leaders to pit. He's 7th right now. Remember, he pit from right around the 15th or 16th position, so still a net gain, nearly 10 spots. But what's it mean for the end of the run? Can he hang on to it? Because those are going to be some old tires compared to the guys around him. Curtis White has caught Lilith Peters. The 01 and the 63 are the 2 cars you need to be looking at on your screen. nose to tail. Battle for second is on. Curtis White down low. Lilith Peters moving all the way up to try to get a drive off the corner. Still staying even on the straightaway. And it looks like Curtis White will clear over Lilith Peters. Dayton Taylor not that far behind. He wants to try to run down Lilith. Smells the blood in the water. He definitely has some pace to get up there and battle her. Remember, Lilith, next to Jacob Lisi, had the oldest tires in the field. She pit on lap 48. That's a huge difference to the cars around. Chris Worrell, her teammate, lap 47. So he's really going to have to be worried about Curtis White. Because if he ate up Lilith Peters that quick, with his 1 lap older tires than Lilith, he needs to be ready for a battle. Lap traffic moving around your leaders right now. Some passing, some falling back. Dayton Taylor still trying to work on Lilith Peters. He's going to have a run on exit here to the inside of the 01 for third. Dayton Taylor will take it. And now Curtis White has Dayton Taylor in his, Chris Worrell in his sights. Ooh, really close there in 1 and 2. Curtis White moving really well right now. Chris Worrell kind of keeping it planted on that line where Curtis wants to run. He doesn't want to look to the high line. Here comes Dayton Taylor. 3-car battle for the lead right now on lap 74. Dayton Taylor has entered the picture. Him and Curtis White are matched on tires. And here comes Dayton Taylor to the inside of Curtis White. Even through turns 3 and 4, exit the corner, top line always prevails. Curtis White back in a set, and Dayton Taylor now will have to try to find another way around Curtis. Builds another run in 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Curtis White making the move on Chris Worrell for the lead. Curtis White up the inside. Half a car nearly clear to Chris Worrell. Out of turn 4. Will the top line prevail for your leader, Chris Worrell? They come off nearly even. Curtis a little sideways. Dayton Taylor, he's now all over the rear bumper. Chris Worrell. Curtis White tries again to the bottom in 1 and 2. Nearly clear. Not quite. He'll make it. He'll shut the door. Now Chris Worrell in second. Has to worry about Dayton Taylor. He tried to get back to the rear bumper, Curtis White, but he just does not have the tire. And soon Dayton Taylor will be able to make the move too. And we got a fuster cluck of cars right in front of your leaders. Curtis White will make an aggressive move to the bottom. The lap cars will actually single file move out of the way in unison, so Curtis White can go by. Chris Worrell on his rear bumper. There's Dayton Taylor. He has to avoid the 6th car of Mike Husby. And still your top 3 underneath the blanket, but Curtis White will pull away quickly. Dayton Taylor needs to make a move. Here comes Lilith Peters. Lil Peters making a move. She's going to get up with your leaders, getting around that lap traffic. Reclosed in that gap. But now it seems like they're going to get stretched out single file just a little bit here. Curtis White, Chris Worrell, Dayton Taylor, Lil Peters, Jared Ray Hutton, your top 5, all within a second. And many different tire strategies. Curtis White, pit on lap 52, Chris Worrell 47, Dayton Taylor 52, Lil Peters 48, and Jared Ray Hutton 56. He has a 4-lap tire advantage over Curtis White and Dayton Taylor. And now he's making the move on Lil Peters. At the same time, Dayton Taylor makes the move on Chris Worrell. Dayton Taylor will clear into third. Jared Ray Hutton will clear into fourth. Excuse me, Dayton Taylor into second. Chris Worrell back to third. And here comes Jared Ray Hutton on board. Oh, Chris Worrell really out of shape off of 4. That's been his kryptonite all night long. Dayton Taylor trying to hang with Curtis White right now. They're getting through lap traffic. Dayton Taylor really wants to test to see if he has anything for Curtis White. Track temp has now rose from 90 degrees to 107 degrees. It's getting warmer out there, but we are laying down rubber. Curtis White, gap at 3/10 over Dayton Taylor. Dayton holding strong, not letting him get out. Chris Worrell still in third right now. Jared Ray Hutton sits just off of him by 3/10. Dayton Taylor. This is the line he's running into the corner, so he charges it a lot harder. Drifts up. I think Curtis White's kind of letting it float up a little bit. Dayton Taylor, I think he's a lot more purposeful with his movement into the corner. This time he really drives it up to about that top of that second lane, drives off the right rear. That's a really good run. And look at the gap he closes in on Curtis White. That's the way to do it. He'll try it again in 3 and 4. And he's going to get a really good run on Curtis White. Now we're about to see a battle for the lead. Can Dayton Taylor do the same thing again? Curtis White staying right around in between the first and the second lane. That's allowing Dayton Taylor to get all the clean air he wants. And now he's drawn to the rear bumper of Curtis White. Lap 88 of the race. Dayton Taylor. Try the line again. Can he build a run to get close enough to make something happen? Closer this time. Looks to the inside in turn 3. Curtis will have the advantage. Curtis is able to drive off the top where Dayton had to stay out of the throttle. If he's going to do it, he needs to clear Curtis White down the back straightaway. But Dayton is searching to find where he is the fastest. He has a pretty good idea at the moment. Jared Ray Hutton, freshest tires right now in the top 5 with lap 56 tires. The Curtis White and Dayton Taylor's lap 52. He's within a second of the pair right now. Dayton Taylor keeping up the pressure right now on Curtis White. Lap car Elijah Cole now in between the pair. Dayton Taylor gets her on the lap car of Elijah Cole, but lost nearly 4 tenths to Curtis White. Jared Ray Hutton is closing in. Andrew Skelnick, he pit on lap 57, so 1 lap fresher tires than what Jared Ray Hutton has bolted on. Three tenths off of Lil Peters. She's just in front of him. Skelnick really working that line that Chris Worrell used, and the same line Dayton Taylor is trying to use. Curtis White hasn't moved up, though, so Dayton has to try to find a different place to put his nose. And we begin lap 100. Nearly halfway through this race. Will be next time by. We're also going to be anywhere from, I would have to say, 2 to even 10 laps from seeing pit stops. We got a wide window. Guys pit as early as lap 47. Others as late as lap 58. I think the advantage has gone to the drivers who have a little bit of extra rubber on the tires. But even those that had a lot extra, you know, I'm talking like Kyle Ether, even Andrew Skelnick, you know, they didn't absolutely get to the front. Curtis White, Dayton Taylor, lap 52s are up there. Jacob Alicia be one of the first to hit pit road again. Kind of making his bed with this play. We'll wait to see if any more front runners decide to also hit pit road. Nathan Taylor, he'll hit pit road. Earlier pit for him than I expected. And by the way, Lil Peters is down there. Dayton Taylor is sideways. And pit road entry, gets it back straight. No incident report. Maybe we can look at it the old-fashioned way. Let's try to. Speed it up just a little bit. So here we go. We're going to enter pit road. Where does it go wrong? Gets on the concrete just fine. Oh, trying to get down to speed. Car is unsettled. Comes around sideways. Near miss for Lilith Peters. Wow. Jared Ray Hutton to the lead as Curtis White will hit pit road. Also on pit road, Chris Worrell, Nathan Jurgensen. Jared Ray Hutton out front. Andrew Skelnick second. Everybody right now on your scoring pylon, P1 to P12, yet to pit, that are on the lead lap. Then you got guys like Elijah Cole, Zach Mertez, have all yet to pit. One lap down. Chris Heller down pit road right now. Elijah Cole as well. Seems like, yes, once again, race off of pit road will be close off the cycle. We got Chris Worrell in front of Curtis White. Chris Heller exiting pit road. Lil Peters will get around him. Jacob Alicia right in front. So Chris Worrell has won the race off of pit road. He is your relative leader. Curtis White relatively second. Jacob Alicia 4 seconds back, relatively third. But on some older tires by a few laps. Nathan Jurgensen and Lil Peters are running him down. So this is your battle for the relative lead. And with one more pit stop in the books, not quite the battle for the win, but you want to be in these spots right here. If we go green from start to finish, keep cycling your way out to the front. Chris Worrell pit lap 104, Curtis White lap 105. So only one lap difference in the tires. Can Worrell hang on and battle back? Came in the room to say hi. Hey, kitty. Come here. I felt their brush up against my leg. Come here. Well, she's hanging out somewhere in here. But meanwhile, your battle for the relative lead heats up as Curtis White took a lunge there towards the 06 at Chris Worrell. Curtis White running, about a lane up off the bottom. Worrell's getting down there on entry, pushing up on exit. Yellow flag, Josh Dillon wrecked on the front straightaway. I don't know if anybody else is involved. I'm looking around. I don't see anybody who was over here. But Josh Dillon has some damage on that race car. Big front end damage. I wonder if he spun off a 4 and drew the yellow. We'll take a look at the replay. Oh. Here's Josh Dillon. Oh. Oh. What is happening there? Oh, there's another wreck. Okay, there's a lot going on. Was that Thomas Stokes? Yes, the 66 of Thomas Stokes. The red Myconite car. No, that's... Oh, hold on. 8... Okay, so they've already... This is them entering pit road. Let's skip to a lap later. Here we go. Again, we're going to have to look at all this manually. We don't know what happened. Stokes, is he pushing up the track to dodge the 22? Maybe. Yeah, and he gets to the left rear of the 13 of Walker McNulty. I'm going to guess that's what draws the yellow, not the 60, or excuse me, the Josh Dillon incident. Josh Dillon was wrecking as well. What's wrong, kitty? I think my cat was out of the room. I guess she's been in here for a while. I never knew. I don't know how she got in here, so I got to go let her out. But Andrew Skelnick, Casey Carrington, Kyle Ether, Ethan again, Dylan Rosenberg, Josh Dillon, Zach Mertez getting their pit stops in. Andrew Skelnick, Kyle Ether, pit on lap 114. We'll have to see how this cycles out here. Who has hit the lottery? I got to go let out my cat. What's wrong, Cookie? The cat is out. The yellow flag came out during the pit cycle. So everybody that had pit, that were the leaders trying to get back on the lead lap, had to take a wave around. So the drivers that were staying out as long as possible, that's Andrew Skelnick, Casey Carrington, Ethan again, Dylan Rosenberg, Kyle Ether, Zach Mertez, they all got to pit
Green.
under yellow. They'll start up front. Green flag is back out. At Dover, have some drivers, one off of strategy. Has Andrew Skelnick and Casey Carrington pulled it off? As well as Ethan again, Dylan Rosenberg, Kyle Ether. Most of those guys we haven't really talked about. They have a 10-lap advantage on those tires. We got lap down guys who are fast cars trying to unlap themselves. Mixed in with this bunch. This is how things go wrong. But right now, Andrew Skelnick, who was struggling to make his way through the top 10. Big move out of Alicia there, getting a little sideways. He'll hang on to it. Andrew Skelnick was struggling to get into the top 10. He was fighting Jurgensen every single lap there. He now has the lead, the rookie who's shown a lot of promise so far this season. Casey Carrington, last week's World 300 winner. Spinner, Dylan Rosenberg. Zach Mertez in the fence. Caution is out. Zach Mertez was one of the drivers, him and Dylan Rosenberg both, who were able to cycle out up front So I'm going to assume those guys who haven't been up front all day were racing each other really hard. And it has ended with a wreck. Let's take a look at the replay. So here we go. Zach Mirtez, Dylan Rosenberg off the corner. Mirtez pushing up. Rosenberg's not all the way up to the fence like Zach was probably expecting. And that's going to get him hooked. Rosenberg's going to have some damage. 22 with Craig Martin. We'll get into Mirtez. He just pushing up in the corner. And gets finished off by Rosenberg. It's nothing. Rosenberg is coming down quite a bit. I wonder if Rosenberg might have turned the wheel left a little bit too much. I don't know. With that contact, he could have been trying to correct it. But nonetheless, that'll draw the yellow again. That'll get some guys back waved around. The field will start more even, side by side. You can tell the majority of the field got waved around last time, as that EOL line was long. So Andrew Skelnick will cycle to the lead off strategy. Casey Carrington second, Ethan Agan third, Kyle Ethier fourth, Curtis White fifth, Jacob Alicia will get the free pass, Jared Ray Hutton sixth, Dayton Taylor seventh, Chris Heller eighth, Justin Ray ninth, Chris Worrell 10th. So Chris Worrell's down on pit road. So we got guys who have not been even top 10 tonight having a race against the dudes who have been up front the entire race. We're almost 3/4 of the way through this race. By the time we go back green, it may be right around 25 laps to go. Excuse me, that's stupid. I mean 75. Oopsie. I'm tired. All right, so I got some news to tell you guys watching at home while we do this one last pace lap around. There's this cutie that's been cutting my hair, and I've tried to get her to come out to a race. She says yes, and I'm trying to explain to her what a sprint car is, but she doesn't know. She doesn't have the slightest clue. She doesn't know anything about racing. So I sent her an ad for one of our upcoming events that we posted that I may say, hey, this is my series. She goes, are those go-karts? The big 360 win sprint cars, are those go-karts? I sent her back the gif of Jonah Hill when he looks like the yeah, whatever gif. Said honey, ... She said, it's what it looks like. So I sent her a collage of images and videos and said, these are sprint cars. I sent her a picture of my cage cart back from when I was about 8 or 9 years old and said, this is a go-kart. So if she does respond, well, hopefully we'll be getting somewhere. She wants to go to a race. We're going to have to make it happen. We're about to go green flag in this race. Just about 75 laps to go. Andrew Skelnick leads them to green. Will the strategy play off and pay off for these guys up front? Or will they get eaten alive in the cars behind, even with fresher tire? Andrew Skelnick to the lead. Casey Carrington battling Jared Ray Hutton. Jared Ray Hutton in his second. Kyle Ether, he's in the 4th spot. Here comes the 97. Ethan again, the rookie, big run along the top line. He's going to grab 2 spots here. If he can complete it, Ethan again making it work. He'll go to the outside and drive right around him and get into the 3rd spot. Casey Carrington side by side with Kyle Ether. Oh, Lucas Strayer sent himself all the way down to the inside wall. Oh, spin in the back. It was Thomas Stokes. We got cars in front wrecking as well. And the yellow flag is out. Christopher Murphy involved. Lucas Strayer. Let's take a look at the replay. So here comes the field through turns 3 and 4. Be ready. I don't know what's going to happen here. 3 wide, right around 9th. Oh, Lucas Strayer gets turned. At the same time, Thomas Stokes gets turned. It's Thomas Stokes. Left side of your screen underneath the scoreboard. Lucas Strayer runs Curtis White out of room there, 3 wide. The 66. Kind of similar. 28 coming up a little bit. 66. Maybe holding his line. Might be coming down. And that'll bring us to another yellow here at Dover. Let's talk to Andrew Skelnick. Skelnick, Rowdy up in the booth. You got a copy.
Hey, Rowdy, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right. You're doing better. The strategy has worked out, staying out the yellow falls, but you have the speed to hold off the guys that are slowly starting to make their way to the top 3 that have been running up there since the drop of the green flag.
I mean, right now, just biding my time out here. I mean, none of us can make it on field right now, so still a lot of race left to go. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Andrew, I think you've been the top rookie so far this season. Definitely really stand out. You feel like you're due to a win, or is it a little too tough here to win? You think just getting a good run is solid as well?
I think we got a shot tonight. I mean, I haven't pushed the car at all tonight. I've been maybe running 85% most of the time, so there's still a lot of speed left to be shown.
Alrighty, we're going to send him back down to the part-time motorsports group. We're going to be ready at the flag stand. When the field goes back around, we'll resume racing. Andrew Skelnick, Jared Ray Hunton, Casey Carrington, Ethan Again, Kyle Ether, Chris Heller, Chris Worrell, Nathan Jurgensen, Garrett Johnston, Justin Ray, your top 10. Dayton Taylor, 13th. Curtis White, 16th.
Green flag, green flag.
A lot of ground for them to make up, but we're going to be back racing here at Dover. Jared Ray Hunton running down Andrew Skelnick right now. Hunton, one of those guys that was top 5 before the yellow during the pit cycle. And Andrew Skelnick really bad 3 and 4. Here comes Hunton. He'll look to the inside. And he'll come across the nose of Skelnick and take away the lead. Jared Ray Hutton out front here at Dover. Jurgensen, a lot of moves back here with Heller. 15 to Garrett Johnston. Haven't talked about him at all. He's in the top 10. Casey Carrington battling Chris Worrell. Worrell right now in the 5th spot. Casey Carrington. 2 is inside. Nathan Jurgensen. He's up top with a large tire advantage. Chris Worrell, Nathan Jurgensen pit lap 122 to top off fuel. I don't believe they pit for tires, excuse me, just for the fuel. Battles going on just outside the top 10 right now. Justin Ray, Chris Heller side by side for 9th. Justin Ray will get it. There's Jacob Alicia back on the fight. He's in 12th behind Dylan Rosenberg. Here's Dayton Taylor trying to make something work. Buried in the field. Rosenberg contact with Alicia. Off the fence. Still loose, trying to hang on to it. Alicia pushed up and doored him. Obviously not on purpose. But that was Harry. Really good save. Kyle Ether, Nathan Jurgensen trying to battle for 5th. So Jared Ray Hutton leads. Your top 10 starting to get single file and buckling in. We still got another pit stop yet. Andrew Skelnick 2nd, Ethan Again 3rd, Chris Worrell 4th, and Nathan Jurgensen 5th. Kyle Ether 6th, Garrett Johnston 7th, Casey Carrington 8th, Justin Ray 9th, Chris Heller battling Dayton Taylor right now for 10th. Taylor on the outside making moves. Dayton Taylor underneath Justin Ray. That's for 9th. He'll take it. Casey Carrington sits ahead in 8th. Jacob Alicia making the move on Justin Ray. Trying to drive to the top 10 competitively for the first time tonight. He said Dover is a personal favorite track of his. He's really getting his reps in tonight for the league race. Him and I, well, the league that I own that he races in on Tuesday nights. He's a favorite to win that one. Dayton Taylor catching Casey Carrington right now. Chris Worrell all over the back bumper. Ethan again. This is the battle for 3rd. Veteran battling the rookie. we go. Chris Worrell looks to the inside. And will clear again. Jared Ray Hutton out front. Andrew Skelnick's been staying within about 5/10 of him. Chris Worrell third now. Here comes Nathan Jurgensen. Jurgensen in fifth, trying to get up to Ethan again and make a pass. Those three are getting really hairy. Jurgensen running up on again, sideways. Worrell kind of having the same issues at the exit of turn 4 he's had all night long. And now Jurgensen begins to work on again. Rookie on rookie, black car on black car. Jurgensen will take the 4th spot. Again, tried to battle back. He just can't get there, so Jurgensen officially clears. He does begin to pull away. Jared Ray Hutton has added about 2/10 on the lead over Andrew Skelnick. Chris Worrell has his turn to try to run down Skelnick, but he's not really gaining. A little bit quicker out of 2, still struggling out of 4. Justin Ray, Jacob Alicia still going at it. The pair have reeled in Casey Carrington. Jacob Alicia will clear for 10th. Dayton Taylor now has caught the rookies as he works on Ethan again. Dayton Taylor very patient with the throttle. Still builds really good runs on the straightaways. Now Dayton Taylor gets to run down Jurgensen half a second off. Chris Worrell's hut for Andrew Skelnick has tapered off. Andrew Skelnick trying to stay within 1 second of Jared Ray Hunt, and it's fluctuated up and down just a few times. Jacob Alicia, Justin Ray still battling. on board with Alicia, trying to get back to Justin Ray. And this is how tough it is to get to the top 10. They've been fighting since the green flag dropped. This is about how they were 30 laps ago. Dayton Taylor now to Jurgensen. On board with Taylor. Watch him here this lap. Lap 160 out of 200. That was the 16 car flying by, lap down. Chris Heller actually 2 laps out at the moment. He pit lap 154. And pit stops have started. Kyle Ether, he hit pit road. Here he is now exiting. He pit lapped 159. Daniel Giroux also hit pit road. There he is. Still waiting on some front runners to hit pit road, but the window's about open. 16 again, Chris Heller, pit 1 lap 54, 2 laps down right now on track. Can get it back. One of the fastest here tonight. Jared Ray Hunton comfortably sits in your lead right now. I personally would not try to pit until as late as possible. Be as fresh as possible for the end of this run. If you're Jared Ray Hunton, you have a 1.2 second lead, nearly 1.3 over Andrew Skelnick. That means you could spend a little bit of extra time getting through pit road and have the fresher tires to battle the guys at the end. So far, everybody that's hit pit road early or tried to be the earliest have not been able to hang on to their track position. Jared Ray Hunton brushes the wall. Here comes the 16 to unlap himself by 1. Still 1 lap down at the moment. He'll get that back when the leaders hit pit road and everybody cycles out. Here's Andrew Skelnick keeping the leader in his sights. There goes Jared Ray Hunton into pit road. So pitting from the lead, Hutton will be the first of some of your front runners. Jacob Alicia also had hit pit road. So Andrew Skelnick will cycle out your leader. Chris Worrell second. Dayton Taylor third. Pit lane exit cam. There's Jacob Alicia. Jared Ray Hunton had one of the front pit boxes. You can see him there. Just the camel on that purple hood. Ethan again. He will hit pit road. So now it's begun. And that'll leave the majority of these drivers with right around a 33 to 35 lap run. The guys that'll pit soon are right around 30. Good on fuel and for a green-white checkered. But how are the tires going to be and who could outcycle who? You're going to lay down some heaters here. This will be the shortest run of the race. So you'll see these drivers turn it up a notch. Leader Andrew Skelnick begins lap 170 of the race. I saw the 63 of Curtis White hit pit road. He drove his way into the top 10 momentarily, but remember, because of that caution, it put him outside the cycle. And so he's been trying to claw his way through this field. It's been tough for probably one of the fastest drivers here tonight. Him and Chris Worrell and the two fastest. So here he is exiting pit road. Justin Ray, he's hit pit road now. With him, Mike Husby. Still waiting on Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell, and Garrett Johnston. Your relative leader, the driver who's pit the most recent, closest to the front, appears to be the 8 car of Kyle Ether. So right now, he is leading the race. If we were going to end the cycle under green and everybody makes it around. And of course, I had to say something. 22 of Craig Martin stopped at the top of the center of turns 1 and 2. And look at that scoring pylon. 3 cars on the lead lap. This has changed everything. And Andrew Skelnick has struck gold again. Let's take a look at the replay. What happened to Craig Martin? Martin was already kind of off the pace, limping around. Remember, he got into contact there with, I believe, Zach Meritez. Oh, Christopher Murphy pushes up in the center. And some more hits there at the end of that deal. Murphy just pushes up in the center right into Craig Martin after pretty much dive bombing him. Oh, leader Andrew Skelnick. Contact. Was it bad? I thought that right front fender buffed out. Look at the checkup out of leader Andrew Skelnick. This could have been bad. Right front takes damage, buffs right back out. Woo-hoo! Change your drawers after that one. Holy. And now we'll hit pit road with 25 laps to go. The rest of the field will take the wave around. Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnston will have the freshest set of tires by quite a bit and get to restart up front because the entire field will get waved around and then issued an EOL. Is this a win for Andrew Skelnick? But remember, pole sitter Chris Worrell will be right there with him. I believe he may be the faster car. Garrett Johnston, we don't know much about him. He's found his way into this strategy. Hasn't been a top 20 guy. Can he spoil the show and find some speed here at the end? If I was him, I'd hope for the good finish. Andrew Skelnick beats Chris Worrell off of pit road. I think Chris Worrell is pretty confident. Yeah, Andrew's been pretty fast, but when you're the pole sitter of this race, you've led the laps to back up the claim that you should win tonight. I think it's very possible. If he just has to battle Andrew Skelnick, he can get there. The whole field will get the wave around, but they're all going to line up single file on the bottom. As they now catch back up. Andrew Skelnick will lead them to green to his outside. Pole sitter Chris Worrell Looks like it'll be a 22-lap shootout. 22 laps does sound like a lot, but around Dover, some guys on fresh tires towards the front. This might only be a 3 or 4 car race. So here we go. Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnson, Kyle Ether, pit lap 176 for their tires. Everybody else more than 10 laps off. We return racing here at Dover. Andrew Skelnick gets to the point. Here comes the 15 of Garrett Johnson in a second. Worrell to third. Lil Peters 1 lap down in front of the 73. Kyle Ether right back here. A lot of cars on track he has to get around, but he is running 4th position-wise. A lot of movement throughout the field. Drivers trying to hustle. Has everybody panicked. Next time by, 20 laps to go for your leader, Andrew Skelnick. Garrett Johnson hangs on to second. Chris Worrell has to try to pressure. Will Worrell try to save just a little bit on this front end and make a charge late in the race? I also think it's fair to say we haven't quite seen the end of yellows tonight. Always a possibility. More going to come out with how hard guys are battling. Skelnick, 0.4 of a second ahead of Garrett Johnston. Chris Worrell staying within half a second. Worrell a little bit quicker than Johnston right now. Starting to run him down. Here we go, Chris Worrell to make the move on Garrett Johnston for second. Dives it all the way down to the bottom. Slide job clears. Yellow flag is out. Elijah Cole spun here just before the entry to turn 3. Let's take a look at the replay. Oh, loose off the corner. Oh, Jared Ray is killed. Big hit for Jared Ray Hunton. Elijah Cole's going to fly off the exit here. End of favorite Jared Ray Hunton. Great runs this race, and it just sends him into a fidget spinner like fly. Wow. And that'll re-rack him here with just about 15 to go. Both Peters gets the wave around. A lot going on here. At the moment, it's still Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnston, Kyle Ether, Nathan Jurgensen, Dayton Taylor, Jacob Alicia, your top 7. Andrew Skelnick, Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnston, Kyle Ether, all pit lap 176. Nathan Jurgensen 163, Dayton Taylor 171, Alicia 165. Just have to sit back and watch it again. Well, we dropped the green flag right around 8:40. It's now 10:13. We've gotten into some really good racing. About an hour and 30 minutes. And it's not over yet. Andrew Skelnick elects the bottom. Chris Worrell will now start to his outside. Kyle Ether matched tires right there in fourth. There is speed in that 8 car. Garrett Johnston will restart from third. Lost second to Chris Worrell during that run. Line up, getting set, making sure everybody's where they need to be. At the front stretch, flag stand. The green flag will be in the air of Barney. Can we keep it green to the end? Andrew Skelnick versus Chris Worrell. Seems like the matchup. Rookie versus veteran. Worrell looking for his first win of the year. Andrew Skelnick looking for the first win of his career. Side by side through turns 3 and 4. Here we go. Skelnick versus Worrell. Part-time Motorsports versus Kaiju Cat Motorsports. We're back racing here at Dover. Skelnick, good launch. Chris Worrell. That's Nathan Jurgensen underneath him right now. Worrell will re-clear into that third spot. Here comes Kyle Ether. Worrell needs to get to Johnston quick and pass him again. Wonder if Garrett Johnson was able to learn anything during that last quick little run. What can he do to have better pace? Chris Worrell got around him really quickly, and he was unable to stay up with Andrew Skelnick. Worrell keeping that nose in clean air. Already doing that early apex line. And he'll push it up here to the center. Dirty air on his nose, late to get back into the throttle. Garrett Johnson running really well right now, staying within half a second of Andrew Skelnick. But Worrell is faster. He's going to try to get there soon. Running out of time right now. Andrew Skelnick mashing it to the floor. Garrett Johnson doing a really good job at hanging on to second. Chris Worrell third at the flag stand. 10 laps to go around Dover. Oh, spinner. It's Walker McNulty. On the front straightaway. The 13 came off the corner all by himself. And will bring out the yellow. And that car is destroyed with 10 laps to go. Oh, actually, was there a car to his outside? No. Oh, the 66 comes up and grabs McNulty. I did not see that. Thomas Stokes drives to the bottom. This was the battle for the free pass position, by the way. And I think Stokes is going to work his way up this track. Yeah, getting the left rear. We've seen that too many times here tonight. The guy on the bottom is ready to push up, and the guy on top just isn't there with the rotation. So we'll have to re-rack him again. Andrew Skelnick can take a breath. Chris Worrell will now get to start third. Can he get a better launch and get around Garrett Johnston, who will be stuck on that outside? Starting P2 in oval racing on iRacing is just never good. It's so disadvantageous. It really is a struggle. Even if you perfectly jump the restart with the leader and get a good launch, you could still be behind. righty. We'll re-rack them side by side. It will be a 6-lap shootout at the flag stand. Andrew Skelnick has been perfect on these restarts. He just needs one more good one and hope that the field keeps it clean behind him. Garrett Johnston to his outside. Found speed in that last run. Did he learn a little bit more? Can he battle for the lead? And Chris Worrell, your pole sitter, would love to get this one. Nathan Jurgensen, Dayton Taylor, Chris Heller, Kyle Ether, Ethan again, Jacob Alicia, Mitchell Mark, your top 10. Chris Heller, pit lap 184 for tires, but with 6 positions to make up. Is that enough to get to the lead with just 6 laps? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, potentially the last restart tonight. 200 laps at Dover. We need 6 more. Andrew Skelnick, the rookie, leads them to green. Can he get his first career win? Good launch out of Skelnick. Chris Worrell will follow suit up the inside, trying to make the pass on Garrett Johnston quickly for second. He'll run out of time to get up to Skelnick. If he doesn't go now, he'll send it in to turns 3 and 4. Can he get the rotation? Yes, he will. Chris Worrell now clear into second. Can he run down Skelnick? 5 laps to go. Skelnick into turn 1, running about the same line as Worrell. Worrell a little bit more aggressive with the entry, keeping that car planted down the back straightaway. Skelnick, Worrell, Johnston, Jurgensen, Taylor. Andrew Skelnick, 3/10 ahead of Chris Worrell right now. Chris Worrell needs to put together some flyers just like the pole time he sat at the top of the race, the top of the night in this event. Put together 3 more next time by, but the gap has been given another 10th to Andrew Skelnick. Andrew Skelnick pulling away at the moment. Here we go, flag stand, 3 laps to go. Skelnick leads. Chris Worrell drops the 10th. And he might even be now a full half second off. 0.5 of a second separate your top 2. Skelnick driving away with it. In his call sits last week's winner and league owner Casey Carrington, Kyle Ethier, and Mike Husby. But Andrew Skelnick, the rookie, unexpected success has came early at Dover. If he could get back around 1.5 more times around the Monster Mile. Not often does a rookie win here in the All-America Cup Series, but season 11, race number 9, white flag, 1 more lap to go. Andrew Skelnick down the back straightaway, final time, nearly put a second on your pole sitter, Chris Worrell. Andrew Skelnick through turns 3 and 4. Can you believe it? New winner here in the All-America Cup Series.
Hey, let's go. I get to do a burnout this time.
Good win, buddy.
Hey, and you got the 12th.
Yeah, good win.
Thank you.
Heard it there. Gets to do a burnout. Andrew Skelnick, checkered flags up here at Dover, and he gets to burn it down. Andrew Skelnick, winner of the Delaware 200, off of the strategy that gets him to the front from battling with other rookie Nathan Jurgensen in the top 10 forever. And it played the cards right. Perfect on the restarts. No threats from out back. Andrew Skelnick, beautiful job here at Dover. Chris Worrell, Garrett Johnston, Dayton Taylor, Nathan Jurgensen, your top 5. And let's talk to him. Andrew Skelnick, winner here at Dover. Can you believe it?
Oh, this one feels good. I feel like the last one was lucky. I was the only one who really wasn't, or last one I was the only one going for fuel. This one I feel like, even though cautions came out and gave me some big breaks, I felt like I won this one more on merit. So happy you win at Dover. This is my favorite track.
Absolutely. Andrew Skelnick, what a rookie season. It's absolutely standout and could be putting together a Hall of Fame career in the All-American Cup Series. Congratulations. What a way to start.
Thank you so much, man. Like,
Send him down. Chris Worrell finishes P2 tonight. Chris, rowdy up the booth. You got me.
What's up, man?
Well, we pushed as hard as we could. The pole sitter tonight comes up short. What were you missing to get to Skelnick there on those green-white checkers?
Just more laps. People fucking not wrecking. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, I just needed that first part of the race, that first 100 laps, even though my headset went out for about 50 of them. I charged it while I was driving and went back a lot and then came back to the front and then was hoping it would stay green. But as soon as the caution came out, everyone just forgot how to race, I guess. So just needed more laps.
Needed more laps. Congratulations on the top 3, though, Worrell. And with the pole, you're still one of the top guys out there, coming up short just in second tonight at Dover. We'll send him back down. P3 tonight, Garrett Johnston. Rowdy up the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Garrett, we overlooked you there when we saw you make the pit cycle, and it worked out with the strategy. You're restarting the top 3, and your teammate Chris Rowe got to you pretty quick. Well, the yellow comes out, and you get to start 3rd, which is more advantageous than P2 on these restarts here in Oval Racing. And then it looked like you found something, whether you were copying Andrew Skelnick or it just started to hit the line right. You held on to the top 3, and I think you brought it home. This was a successful night for you. What'd you say?
Yeah, it was definitely a successful night, and I would also, in the same breath, say that it was entirely due to luck. I definitely did not deserve to be up there. I think for the first 100 laps, my highest spot was about 20th, excluding cycles. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day on races like this, and stayed up there at the end, and I guess that's really what matters.
It is really what matters. Garrett, congratulations on the top 3.
All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
We'll send him back down. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude on-track action here in the All-American Cup Series. Thursday night racing, Season 11, Race 9 belongs to Andrew Skelnick. And excuse me, bad call at the end. 2 career wins. Forgot that he might have won Auto Club. I'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Have a good night.